I was at the airport last week watching this family. They were the picture of calm competence. The father, impeccably dressed, was quietly reading on his tablet while the kids played a card game. The mother was coordinating everything with this, effortless grace.
Right, the perfect travel unit.
Exactly. They were the kind of people you see and think, wow, they really have it all together. For 2 hours, through a rolling delay, that composure never broke. Not once.
Impressive under airport stress.
Totally. And then the announcement came over the loudspeaker, flight canceled.
Ah, the breaking point.
In that instant, everything shifted. The file slammed his tablet shut, he marched to the counter, and his voice, once so calm, became sharp and metallic as he berated the gate agent.
Wow.
The mother, whose face had been this mask of serene patience, was now visibly fighting back tears, her words short and clipped with her children. The whole perfect image just shattered in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's quite a switch.
And it would have been easy to just write him off as another entitled, angry guy. But what struck me wasn't just the anger. It was the speed of the transformation. It was like watching a dam break. And it made me wonder about that other version of him, the one who had existed just moments before. Which one was the truth? That moment got me thinking about a broader, absolutely fascinating idea in human behavior. The concept of our two selves.
Yeah.
We all recognize this kind of duality, don't we? The polished version we carefully construct and present to the world, the everything's fine face.
A highlight reel.
Exactly, the highlight reel. And then there's the raw, often messy inner person full of doubts, fears, and untamed emotions. Which one is the real you? Which one is the one that truly needs to be seen?
It's remarkable, isn't it, how that airport scenario perfectly illustrates a core psychological framework. What you saw was a dramatic shift between what psychologists, particularly Tim Galway in his Inner Game series, call Self 1 and Self 2.
Self 1 and Self 2.
Right. Self 1 is the big ego, the part of us that's judgmental, obsessed with being right, constantly trying to control. It's the inner critic, the perfectionist, the one who pushes you to present that flawless image.
Okay.
Then there's Self 2. The wise one, the authentic individual, full of inherent potential, capable of genuine growth and trust.
Right.
The airport father, in that moment of crisis, seemed to swing from a tightly controlled Self-1 persona to a raw, frustrated burst from his, unmanaged inner self. This duality isn't just an abstract concept, it's something we navigate constantly, often without even realizing it.
Exactly. And that's our deep dive today. We're going to explore this profound duality across a range of aspects in life, how it plays out in our personal interactions, how it impacts the workplace, and even how it shapes our increasingly complex digital personas. Our mission is to uncover how understanding these two selves can reveal surprising insights, not just about the people around us, but also, critically, about ourselves. It's about peeling back the layers to see what truly lies beneath. So let's unpack this concept of Self 1 and Self 2 a bit more. It's more than just a theoretical idea. It's like a practical lens through which we can gain incredible insight into human behavior, especially in how we lead and interact.
Definitely.
What are the distinguishing marks of each in a way that truly helps us recognize them?
Okay, to truly grasp the dynamic, let's break down the characteristics. Self 1 is truly the big ego. Imagine it as the relentless, know-it-all voice inside your head.
We all have that one.
Oh, yeah. This part of you is intensely judgmental, constantly concerned with winning, with always being right, and crucially, with showing off.
Right, performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Self 1 operates from a deep place of insecurity and fear. It uses pressure, sets incredibly high, often unrealistic standards for itself and for others. It's critical, prone to stress, and it constantly distorts reality. Why? To maintain control and to appear successful regardless of the true underlying situation.
So it's all about the image.
It's all about outward appearances, managing perceptions, and self-preservation, often at the expense of genuine connection or learning. Think of it as the inner manager desperately trying to optimize everything for a public performance.
Yeah.
And feeling immense stress when things go off script. Now, in stark contrast, Self 2 is the wise one, the authentic human being with inherent, often untapped potential.
Okay.
When we operate from Self 2, we are receptive and neutral. We observe and listen to the world around us without preconceived ideas, without immediate judgment, just pure awareness.
More present.
Exactly. There's a relaxed focus that allows us to truly take in and use information. Critically, Self 2 trusts its natural abilities and extends that same trust to others because it operates from a place of inner security and safety rather than fear or a need to control. It's the intuitive part of you, that knows what to do without overthinking, the part that's truly present.
It sounds like self one is the part of us that's always trying to prove something, always striving for external validation,
Precisely.
while self two is content with simply being and experiencing.
Precisely.
Right.
And the problem arises because self one, with all its stress, anxiety, and constant need for control, actively prevents high performance and genuine connection.
Right, gets in the way.
It gets in the way. It creates a vicious cycle. When you're constantly worried about making a mistake, questioning yourself, or fearing judgment from others or from your own self-one, your confidence erodes.
Yeah, you freeze up.
You start to overthink, you tighten up, as Galway puts it, you miss opportunities, you miss the shot, you fumble the interaction. What you fear failure, inadequacy, losing control, often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because your inner critic has paralyzed your natural ability. The whole framework of the inner game suggests that quieting this critical self-one voice is absolutely essential. It's about observing without judgment, allowing that authentic, capable self-two to emerge, which then speaks and acts in ways that are far more effective, influential, and frankly, much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's about getting out of your own way.
That makes so much sense. So how does this inner tug of war, this idea of self-one hindering performance and self-two enabling it, actually play out in our daily lives? Let's take the high-stakes world of corporate leadership.
Good example.
I was thinking about a story we came across involving a manager named David and his team member Anya that really brings this to life. David was a manager in a high-pressure New York corporate office.
Okay.
He was the quintessential sunshine version leader, always composed, incredibly efficient, and relentlessly results-driven.
Got the picture. All self-one on the surface.
Totally. He truly embodied that polished professional persona. His self-one was meticulously curated for the corporate stage. His team member, Anya, was usually a star performer. She was reliable, talented, and consistently hit her marks. But for about a month, her work had visibly slipped. She became quiet in meetings, missed a crucial deadline, and seemed distant, almost disengaged.
Okay, performance drop. Red flag for a manager like David.
Exactly. From David's self-one perspective, the answer was simple and immediate. Anya was becoming a problem employee. Her performance was declining, and he was ready to initiate formal disciplinary procedures.
Standard procedure, right?
Right.
Focused on the output, the behavior.
Right. He was seeing her only through the rigid, rule-bound lens of her professional mask, which appeared to be failing. But then one evening, as David was leaving the office late, he saw Anya still at her desk.
Uh-oh.
The office was supposedly empty, and she was sitting there, her shoulders shaking. She wasn't being defiant or lazy, she was silently crying.
Wow, that changes things.
In that singular moment, David had a choice. His initial instinct, perhaps driven by his self-one focus on efficiency, procedure, and maintaining control, might have been to turn away, to let HR handle it, to avoid the messy human element.
The easier path, in some ways. Less complicated.
But he hesitated. The next day, instead of giving her a formal warning or discussing disciplinary action, David invited Anya for a coffee.
Okay.
And here's the crucial pivot. He didn't confront her about her performance. He simply asked with genuine concern, is everything all right outside of work?
That's the key, isn't it? Shifting from judgment to inquiry.
That one question, that shift from judgment to genuine human inquiry, broke the dam. Anya revealed the immense strain she was under caring for a sick parent. Her inner exhausted self, the vulnerable, struggling person behind the professional mask, herself too, was finally revealed. By choosing to see beyond her slipping performance and her struggling professional persona, David didn't just salvage an employee, he built a profound foundation of trust.
Huge difference.
This act of empathy, seeing her true self too, ended up strengthening his entire team, showing them that their leader valued them as human beings, not just cogs in a machine.
Yeah.
It transformed what could have been a career-ending conflict into a moment of powerful connection and support, ultimately boosting team morale and productivity.
That story provides such a powerful example of how understanding these two selves is deeply intertwined with emotional intelligence, or EI.
Right, EI. Tell us more about that.
Well, EI is defined as the ability to perceive, express, understand, reason with, and then effectively regulate emotions, both in oneself and in others. David's shift from purely disciplinary, self-one-driven mindset to one of genuine inquiry and empathy is a hallmark of high emotional intelligence.
Yeah, you can see it clearly there.
It wasn't about his IQ or technical skills that saved the situation. It was about his capacity for empathy and understanding that allowed him to connect with Anya's true self, too. Research consistently highlights that EI is absolutely crucial for effective leadership, moving far beyond just intellectual quotient. Emotionally intelligent leaders actually improve both behaviors and business results.
Really? Both?
Both. They cultivate higher levels of trust and collaboration within their teams. Think about David's team. When he showed that understanding, it didn't just help Anya, it signaled to everyone that this was a safe environment to be human, to bring their full selves to work, not just their polished self-one.
That ripple effect is powerful.
It is. Moreover, studies suggest that EI becomes more important as individuals move up into leadership positions.
Why is that?
Because as a leader, you're not just managing tasks. You're managing people, emotions, and complex interpersonal dynamics. You need to manage emotions, both your own and those of your team, proactively and reactively.
Makes sense. More people, more emotions to navigate.
Exactly. There are practical applications of this in various fields. For instance, in high-stress environments like finance, healthcare, or emergency services, leaders with high EI are better equipped to manage their own stress. And mitigate cognitive biases in decision-making, which can have significant positive impacts on outcomes like reducing financial errors or improving patient care.
So it's not just soft skills, it affects the bottom line.
Absolutely. When that critical, judgmental voice of self-one is quieted, self-two, the authentic self, becomes more influential and effective. This aligns with a practice called non-judgmental awareness, which is built on 3 core principles: awareness, trust, and choice.
Awareness, trust, choice.
When leaders foster this environment, they can truly trust their subordinates and empower them to choose how to achieve results, rather than dictating every single step. This leads to a more engaged, innovative, and resilient workforce because people feel seen and valued for who they genuinely are.
So what does this all mean for us as individuals navigating our professional and personal lives? It seems like recognizing these 2 selves, not just in others, but critically in ourselves, isn't just a fascinating psychological exercise.
No, it's very practical.
It's a practical, powerful tool for fostering better leadership, for resolving conflicts more effectively, and ultimately for building stronger, more empathetic connections in all areas of our lives.
Yeah.
It pushes us to look beyond the surface, beyond that polished sunshine version, to understand the full, nuanced human story. It's about listening, truly listening to the whispers of self, too. Moving from the intimate dynamics of the workplace to the vast, interconnected digital world, we see this 2 selves phenomenon amplified exponentially.
Oh, absolutely. It's on steroids online.
Our online lives, for many, have become the ultimate stage for the sunshine version, a carefully curated highlight reel designed for public consumption, where self-one takes center stage and runs the show.
Definitely. The concept of the curated online self has been central to social media for years, almost since its inception. Remember the early influencer culture?
Oh yeah, the perfection.
Articles from as recently as 2019 perfectly captured it. Flawless skin, structured cheekbones, perfectly manicured eyebrows, and posts that elicit an air of mystery.
Right, very controlled.
It was all about presenting this polished, effortless image, a closed book with an elaborate cover designed to entice engagement without revealing too much.
Yeah.
The content often prioritized aesthetic perfection and a seemingly aspirational lifestyle, meant to impress and inspire envy, but rarely did it delve into the deeper, messier realities of life. It's a pure self-one performance.
And then there's a story I saw unfold online which really speaks to the immense gap between our curated digital lives and our private reality. I was following this Japanese lifestyle influencer, Emmy, on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Her feed truly was a work of art. Minimalist aesthetics, serene tea ceremonies, perfectly arranged bento boxes, and a constant, gentle smile.
The dream life, basically.
Totally. To her thousands of followers, she was the embodiment of a calm, curated, and what appeared to be an utterly authentic life. She was the picture of composure and effortless grace, her sunshine version perfected for the world to admire, a digital self-one masterpiece.
Right, the curated authenticity trap.
But then, one day, she posted a beautiful picture as usual, but with a caption that was completely out of character. It was raw, vulnerable, and totally unexpected.
Ah.
She wrote, "This photo took 50 takes. Before I took it, I was sitting on the floor, unable to breathe because of anxiety. I am not serene, I am struggling."
Wow, that's brave.
She confessed that the relentless pressure to perform this authentic but impossibly perfect version of herself had become a crushing weight. The immense, unsustainable gap between her online persona and her inner turmoil, her true self too, was making her profoundly sick.
That pressure is real. So many people feel it.
The reaction from her audience was incredible. Instead of unfollowing her for breaking the illusion, her comment section was flooded with messages of love and support.
That's amazing.
Countless others admitted they felt the exact same pressure, trapped in their own curated online selves. The trust didn't break, it transformed, it became deeper, more real, more human. This story shows us how our modern society often encourages the creation of these digital sunshine selves. But what we as humans are truly craving, sometimes desperately, is the truth of the inner self, with all its beautiful imperfections. It's almost like there's a collective sigh of relief, a moment of universal connection when someone drops the polished act.
That collective sigh of relief you mentioned is a clear indicator of what's been termed the online authenticity crisis.
Okay, tell me about that crisis.
This is a growing challenge, especially with the blurring lines between human and AI and digital interactions. We're seeing alarming statistics. Studies show that a staggering 72% of social media users now regularly interact with AI agents without even recognizing them.
72%, that's huge.
It's massive. Think about that for a moment. The majority of us are having conversations with machines, believing them to be human, engaging with an artificial self-one.
That's unsettling.
And it's not just passive interaction. AI-generated influencers like Fakanita have been engaged with deeply by millions of users on platforms like Instagram who had no idea they weren't human.
No idea at all.
None. In fact, AI-powered accounts are showing 3 to 5 times higher interaction rates than human ones.
Why is that?
Well, they're optimized, right? They can be perfectly engaging, always on, hitting all the right notes algorithmically. This highlights just how easily we can be fooled by a perfect digital self-one crafted by algorithms.
Yeah.
This poses profound challenges for maintaining authentic connections. If we can't tell what's real, if perfection is always just a few lines of code away, how do we form genuine bonds or trust the information we consume?
It makes real authenticity even more valuable, I guess.
Exactly. The drive for the perfect online persona, whether human or AI-generated, ultimately creates an environment where true self-to authenticity becomes a rarity and, frankly, a relief. This crisis has led to a significant anti-perfection trend, a ditching the rose-tinted glasses movement across social media.
I've noticed that a bit.
We've seen the rise of Finsta's fake Instagram accounts, where users share private, unpolished photos with a smaller, trusted circle, allowing their self-to breathe.
Right. The real account.
TikTok, especially in its early days, was seen as an escape from the glossy perfection of other sites, particularly among Gen Z. This generation, powerful trendsetters as they are, is less interested in flawless influencers and far more likely to admit their struggles, to be open about their true self too. They're increasingly willing to trust people who are open about their difficulties, around a third of consumers generally, rising to 44% for those who are open online.
That's a significant number.
It is. Look at gymnast Simone Biles, for example. When she withdrew from the Olympics for mental health reasons, it was a moment that traditionally might have sparked widespread criticism or judgment.
I remember that vividly.
Instead, her social media reaction was overwhelmingly positive, and she gained millions of followers. This wasn't seen as a blemish, but as a deeply humanizing act of self-to courage.
Yeah, it shifted the conversation.
We're also seeing the emergence of genuine influencers who prioritize spreading ideas and genuine experiences over just products, becoming thought leaders in their own right.
Interesting. More substance over style.
Right. There's a growing use of humor and parody, like mocking the superficiality of #thatgirl or using "be a man" parodies to expose toxic archetypes.
Taking the air out of the performance.
Exactly. Even legally, there's a push for reality, with Norway passing a law requiring disclaimers for retouched photos in advertising, reflecting a societal desire for unedited reality.
That's fascinating. A legal push for authenticity.
All of this points to a larger cultural shift, embracing the pseudo-dumb trend and the profound idea that authenticity isn't an aesthetic to be mimicked. It's about genuine expression, even if it's not aesthetically perfect, because that's where true connection lies.
It seems what we crave, both personally and online, isn't the airbrushed, hyper-perfect version of someone. We crave the raw, unfinished edges of someone's true self, the self, too, that struggles, learns, and grows, not just the polished surface.
Yeah.
This desire for genuine human connection, for authenticity over illusion, is really shaping how we interact and what we value in the digital realm. It's a recognition that real life and real people are far more interesting than any curated highlight reel. So we've seen the beneficial side of understanding our dual nature and the societal shift towards valuing authenticity online. But there's a darker, much more chilling side to the two selves phenomenon,
Unfortunately, yeah.
where one persona is specifically crafted for manipulation, turning that duality into a truly insidious tool of deception. It makes you wonder what people are capable of when they weaponize their self-one.
This brings us to a chilling story shared on a Reddit forum about what the narrator vividly called the soft voice con man.
Okay, I'm bracing myself.
It began innocently enough. Someone slid into her DMs at 2 a.m., not with anything aggressive, but with a very different, very observant message.
2 a.m. DM, already a bit of a flag, maybe.
Maybe, but the content seemed different. She normally didn't reply to DMs, but this felt intriguing. She directly asked about an ulterior motive, and the reply was a smooth, "Nothing, ma'am. There's no ulterior motive."
Smooth, calculated.
A carefully crafted, self-won persona from the very first interaction. Days later, when things felt a bit off, she confronted him, ready to disengage, but he seemed sincere.
Reeled her back in.
Then he revealed he was heartbroken over an ex-girlfriend who had cheated on him. This immediately changed the dynamic. She unintentionally took on the role of a therapist-cum-friend for this random stranger.
The vulnerability play.
Feeling a deep empathy because she had been through something similar. Their quirks started to match, very specific ones, similar tastes, shared interests.
Mirroring.
Sounds like it. He seemed well-read and worked at a reputable place. Everything seemed good, and she was pleasantly surprised, astonished even, by this seemingly high-quality individual.
Building the perfect image.
Their connection grew. Telegrams were exchanged for academic purposes, calls started, everything remained platonic with no leading on, just what felt like genuine, pure feelings to help each other through tough times.
Platonic. Supposedly.
She kept motivating him to go out, meet new people, to heal. He started to get better, or so it seemed. She was there when he took an exam and didn't do well. She was there for his supposed flaws, the abuses from his ex, a skin condition, family issues.
Investing deeply.
She genuinely wanted him to get out of this mess. It felt like a genuine bond, and she let her guard down. No longer the hard girl she was for everyone else. She became open, vulnerable, authentic, truly expressing herself too.
Lowering her defenses.
The turning point came during a casual banter where he suddenly started projecting mean, obnoxious stuff stemming from his supposed past trauma.
Oof. Cracks appearing.
She played along, trying to be the cool girl, not the butthurt, sentimental one. But she was hurt. She backed off, asked him to stop talking.
Setting a boundary.
He profusely apologized, begged her not to leave altogether, said he didn't want to lose her, and promised to take therapy. Long, heartfelt messages were exchanged, even crying photos.
Wow. High drama manipulation.
Despite her own abandonment issues and anxious attachment style, she felt bad for him and put up with blurry boundaries so he would feel happy talking to her. Eventually, she had to block him for her own good.
And for her.
On both Reddit and Telegram, recognizing the toll it was taking on her mental health.
That takes strength.
The emotional withdrawal was intense. She went through crying spells, gut-wrenching sessions at night, even found herself driving erratically due to the emotional distress. She initially attributed it to guilt,
Understandable.
feeling like she abandoned a sad guy who couldn't survive without her support, cringing at the thought of her own past, broken self reflected in him.
That self-blame is common.
10 days later, her curiosity got the better of her. She made an alt account, typed in his username, and what she found was a profound shock.
Here comes.
She saw someone she didn't know. A whole new person. This new persona was lurking and commenting under scantily clad women's posts on fashion subreddits, asking girls to accompany him to concerts, and asking them to talk in DMs on the pretext of venting.
Oh my God. The mask completely dropped.
This was cheap, attention-seeking behavior, showing exactly where his energy actually went. He was already on to the next prey to fill that void.
Predatory. Just completely predatory.
She went numb. The pain wasn't just about betrayal. It was the agony of coming emotionally undone in front of someone who was ultimately just like everyone else, someone she wouldn't have even spoken to otherwise.
That feeling of being utterly fooled.
Every single word he had spoken felt like a calculated lie. She cursed herself for telling friends and family about him, for researching skincare routines for his supposed skin condition, for making him diet plans and inspiring movie recommendations.
All that investment based on a lie.
Everything slashed before her eyes, and she realized the game. It wasn't a sad man crying about his skin or ex. It was a man weaponizing these vulnerabilities to slide into DMs.
Using pain as bait.
This was the ring at the club theory in action. Acts like a broken or unavailable man to catch emotionally soft girls who want to fix you. Using phrases like, "Oh, I'm safe, I'm still not over my ex."
So cynical.
She recalled subtle red flags, like him visiting the same comedy show twice. But she had dismissed them as quirks of his personal life. Now she saw a clear, predatory pattern.
Hindsight is brutal.
Fishing for vulnerable individuals from various subreddits, preferably sad and broken, luring them with a fake, chivalrous, manipulative, self-won persona. It was creepy because it was so drastically different from how we acted with her, like he had two parallel personalities operating in tandem.
The dissonance must have been staggering.
The high-quality man she had put on a pedestal, with his supposed personal hardships, sincerity, and resilience, shattered in an instant. The dissonance of encountering a weirdo creep behind the carefully curated facade was immense. She felt tricked, realizing she had put her mental health on the line for someone who didn't deserve it. She saw an impeccable actor, a predator, a vile man who was just a desperate attention addict, scared of silence and growth, with no loyalty to his own words.
Wow.
His casual sexual innuendos, which had seemed out of place before, now made perfect sense as a curated role to secure her emotional investment.
It all clicked into place horribly.
He was the most dangerous kind of con man, not stealing money, but stealing trust with emotional theater, betraying the image he sold as part of a cold, calculated plan. The emotional betrayal and the crash of the fantasy were devastating, messing with her more than a legitimate breakup would.
Because it invalidates everything.
Exactly. She also linked it to what's known as trauma bonding, a powerful, often unhealthy, connection that can form when someone leverages shared past pain or vulnerability, making the manipulation feel familiar, even strangely comforting to your nervous system.
Right. The body remembers even if the mind is fooled.
Those butterflies, she realized, weren't a sign of a special connection, but rather her nervous system reacting to unhealthy, familiar patterns of dysregulation, a warning sign she had unfortunately misinterpreted.
That's a truly chilling account, a stark reminder of how carefully crafted a deceptive self-one can be, and how dangerous it is when that persona is built purely on manipulation. So, given this stark reality, why do people create these predatory, deceptive dual identities? What's driving that kind of behavior?
There are several dark motivations behind such manipulative two-selves behavior, and the con man's actions fit them perfectly. One primary driver is attention addiction.
Okay.
These individuals feed off validation from multiple sources. Even if one person is giving them consistent care, they still seek quick dopamine hits from strangers online because there are no real repercussions.
It's never enough.
Never enough. They are emotional grazers, constantly needing external affirmation due to deep-seated insecurity and unaddressed trust issues. They're terrified of silence and genuine introspection, needing constant external input to feel alive or validated. Another motivation is what we can call an ego gap. They present themselves as deep and different to feel special, yet deep down, they're profoundly insecure and hollow.
The performance covers the void.
Exactly. They rely on low-effort compliments to feel desirable and will often mirror your actions or interests to seem relatable, making you feel a unique connection that isn't actually there. It's a superficial chameleon act designed to fill an internal void.
Right.
We also often see a double-life habit with such individuals. They effectively compartmentalize their identity into an intense, emotional, private self for deeper, often manipulative connections, and then maintain a shallow, impulsive, casual self for other interactions.
Two separate people almost.
These two versions operate in parallel, allowing them to shift personas seamlessly depending on who they are interacting with and what they want from them. There's no unified sense of self.
Siri.
A significant underlying factor is a profound lack of genuine values. They say whatever sounds good in the moment, without any internal compass strong enough to keep their actions consistent.
Words mean nothing.
There's no clear boundary for themselves, and crucially, no alignment between their words and their actual behavior. They'll shift their behavior to whatever gets them attention in the moment, completely unmoored from any core principles.
Mm-hmm.
The key thing here is that this isn't a small quirk. It's a fundamental character pattern. People who can compartmentalize like this tend to eventually reveal both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and usually it's not the good side that ultimately wins.
That's sobering.
The ease with which the con man moved on after only 10 days speaks volumes about this ingrained pattern of lacking internal consistency.
Yeah.
Finally, there's the calculated ring at the club theory we mentioned. This involves intentionally acting broken or unavailable, presenting a wounded self to attract emotionally soft individuals who have a desire to fix others.
Exploiting empathy.
Precisely. They use phrases like, "I'm safe, I'm still not over my ex," as a pretext to secure emotional investment without any real commitment. Those casual sexual innuendos they randomly threw into conversations weren't accidental.
No.
They were part of a curated role, specifically designed to secure emotional investment, making the other person feel uniquely special and trusted, despite the predatory intent. It's a cynical exploitation of empathy.
The narrator's lessons learned are incredibly stark observations, almost like a survival guide for discerning genuine connection from manipulative performance. They're hard-won truths.
Absolutely. These observations, though born from a painful personal experience, offer critical insights into identifying deceptive dualities and protecting yourself.
Right.
The first is the paramount importance of consistency.
Consistency. Right.
You must observe someone's behavior in various contexts. In public, online, when they're bored, when they're angry, when they're busy, when things are going well, then when they're not. If these different versions don't match up,
Red flag.
if there are significant discrepancies, you're not interacting with a unified person, but with a character that we're playing. That inconsistency is the ultimate red flag.
Okay.
Second, and this is crucial, do not romanticize woundedness. Trauma doesn't automatically equate to depth, safety, or kindness.
Important distinction.
Being broken doesn't give someone moral credit or make them worthy of your emotional labor. In fact, it often means they're simply not ready for a healthy, reciprocal connection.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fix someone broken is not your role. Therapy exists for a reason, and you should never let disrespect or manipulative behavior slide under the guise of their supposed pain. Your empathy should be extended to those who earn it through consistent, respectful behavior, not just a sob story.
Boundaries are key.
Third, watch for validation habits. Frequent commenting on strangers' posts, constantly DMing new people, or having constant, almost frantic social media activity can signal a profound need for external validation rather than a genuine focus on inner growth.
What are they seeking?
This behavior indicates they need a crowd to feel whole, rather than having internal security and self-worth. They're constantly seeking external mirrors to confirm their existence.
Right.
Fourth, and perhaps the most difficult but important to internalize, prioritize actions over stories. Anyone can sound like a good, sincere person. Anyone can weave a compelling narrative.
Talk is cheap.
Very few actually live it. What someone does consistently, day in and day out, reveals far more about their true character than anything they say. Their actions are the truth of their self too, regardless of the self-one story they tell.
Actions speak louder. Got it.
Fifth, beware of too good to be true, initial intensity. This can often be a performance, commonly known as love bombing, designed to quickly secure your emotional investment and bypass your natural defenses.
The initial rush.
Wait to see if that intensity holds when things aren't exciting or new, when the novelty wears off, or when you aren't providing them with constant attention. Genuine connection builds. It doesn't explode.
Good point. Patience.
And finally, a simple but powerful truth. Genuinely high-quality, stable individuals rarely cold message strangers on random online platforms seeking profound emotional connection.
Huh? Probably true.
Most secure, well-adjusted people find connections through more conventional established memes, through shared interests, friends, or real-world interactions, rather than fishing for emotional prey in anonymous digital spaces. These insights serve as powerful filters for navigating the complexities of human interaction, helping you discern between an authentic self two and a dangerous, manipulative self one.
This whole deep dive really highlights the challenge of trying to discern which self we're truly interacting with, the authentic, vulnerable one, or a carefully constructed persona, whether that persona is for social presentation or, more sinisterly, for manipulation.
It's a constant navigation.
It compels us to develop a more nuanced understanding of human behavior, to be more discerning observers, and to trust our gut when something feels off. From the challenges of deceptive two selves, let's pivot back to where the conscious effort to bridge this gap can truly foster a positive environment. This brings us squarely to the concept of psychological safety in the workplace.
Yes, a much more hopeful application.
A place where valuing our true selves can literally transform productivity and well-being.
Psychological safety is essentially an individual's perception of the consequences of taking interpersonal risks in their work environment.
Okay, so it's about feeling safe to take risks.
Exactly. It's the belief that you can express your ideas, ask questions, admit mistakes, or offer dissenting opinions without fear of negative consequences to your image, status, or career. It's a subtle but crucial element in fostering openness, allowing individuals to bring their full, authentic selves, their self-to work.
Okay, and how is that different from just trusting your boss or colleagues?
That's a great question. There's a subtle but crucial difference. While often used interchangeably, they're distinct. Psychological safety is primarily a perception of the environment. It's about whether the workplace climate minimizes the perceived risk of speaking up or being vulnerable.
So it's about the team culture.
Right. It's a subconscious conviction about how others will respond to your actions, an attribute of the team or organization itself. Trust, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to be vulnerable with another person, believing they will act with good intentions.
Ah, okay. Environment versus individual choice.
Precisely. While related, one is about the overall climate, and the other is about a specific interpersonal relationship. You might trust an individual on your team implicitly, but still not feel psychologically safe if the overall organizational environment is punitive.
Right.
Or if past experiences have taught you to keep yourself too hidden.
I heard a story from a friend working in human resources about a tech company in Berlin that was trying to build a truly psychologically safe workplace, and it really brought this concept to life.
Oh, interesting. Let's hear it.
They hired a brilliant but very junior programmer named Leo. Leo was naturally introverted, and he carried the baggage of a previous job where he had been openly mocked for suggesting an unconventional idea in a meeting.
Ouch. That sticks with you.
Totally. That painful experience had taught him a powerful but limiting lesson. Keep his head down and his mouth shut. He only presented the most polished, risk-free version of his professional self, his sunshine version, or self one.
Protective mode.
Avoiding any vulnerability or sharing of half-formed ideas. He was an excellent coder, but his potential for innovative thinking remained untapped, hidden beneath that cautious exterior.
Lost potential there.
A few months into the new job, his team hit a major roadblock on a complex project. Everyone was stuck, frustratingly so, cycling through the same ideas.
Been there.
Leo had a strange, almost nonsensical idea bubbling up, a truly out-there solution that felt wildly unconventional. But the lingering fear of judgment, that vivid memory of being ridiculed, kept him silent.
That internal battle. Self-one shouting danger.
He could feel the anxiety building, the internal conflict between his innovative inner self, his creative self too, and the cautious, self-preserving self one that screamed, "Don't risk it, stay safe." His team lead, a perceptive woman named Freja, noticed his hesitation. She paused the meeting, sensing the unsaid tension and the unspoken ideas in the room.
Good leadership awareness.
She then declared, "Okay, rule change. For the next 10 minutes, there are no bad ideas. I want to hear the weirdest, most impossible solution you can think of. Bonus points if it sounds crazy."
Explicit permission. Love it.
Freja was intentionally, explicitly creating a space safe from ridicule, actively inviting the raw, unpolished self-to ideas to emerge. Hesitantly, Leo explained his concept.
Took courage.
It was indeed odd, a truly left-field approach. But in that open, non-judgmental space, his idea sparked a connection another developer hadn't considered. It was the key, the breakthrough they desperately needed.
Amazing.
By giving Leo explicit permission to show his unpolished, creative inner self, Freja didn't just solve a critical problem for the team. She fundamentally showed him that his authentic, innovative contribution was deeply valued, even celebrated.
That's building psychological safety in action.
It's a powerful reminder that the greatest innovations often don't come from people pretending to be perfect. They come from people who feel safe enough to truly be real, to expose their self-to for the benefit of the collective.
That story beautifully illustrates how authentic leaders directly promote psychological safety. Authentic leaders, by definition, possess a high degree of self-awareness.
Oh, okay.
They understand their own strengths, shortcomings, and core values. This self-awareness allows them to lead transparently, not pretending to be flawless, but openly sharing their thought processes and even admitting their mistakes.
Being human, essentially.
Exactly. This relational transparency inspires and intellectually stimulates their subordinates because it creates a model of vulnerability and honesty. They don't just talk about psychological safety, they embody it.
Mm-hmm.
Crucially, authentic leaders are supportive rather than controlling. They show genuine concern for their subordinates' feelings and needs and provide positive, constructive feedback, much like David did with Anya and Fredja did with Leo.
Creating that supportive space.
This creates an environment where employees are genuinely encouraged to share their opinions and ideas without fear of negative consequences. This actively mitigates those interpersonal risks we discussed, things like identity damage from social interactions, or the fear of being neglected or punished if you speak up or make a mistake.
Makes sense.
When leaders consistently foster this kind of environment, it leads to a powerful positive change within the organization. Increased transparency, heightened self-awareness among team members, and a collective willingness to continually learn and adapt, making the self, too, a valuable asset, not a hidden liability.
And a study focused on authentic leadership in the South African mining industry gave us some really interesting data points that back this up, showing the impact of this approach on concrete outcomes in a very demanding sector.
Yes, that Maximo et al. Study, very insightful.
It provides practical insights that go beyond just theory.
Indeed. The study, which looked at 244 employees in the South African mining industry, provided compelling evidence for these dynamics, but with some fascinating nuances.
Okay, what did they find?
The primary findings highlighted two crucial relationships. Firstly, they found that authentic leadership is a significant predictor of both trust in supervisors and psychological safety.
So, authentic leaders build both trust and safety.
Correct. This means that when leaders are perceived as authentic, when they demonstrate self-awareness, balanced processing of information, a strong moral compass, and relational transparency, they are more readily trusted by their subordinates.
Mm-hmm.
This authenticity directly contributes to a climate where employees feel psychologically safe, confident that their actions, even risky ones, won't lead to negative repercussions for their image, status, or career.
Right.
It's essentially the leader giving explicit permission for the self to operate.
Right.
Secondly, regarding how these factors ripple through an organization, authentic leadership had a statistically significant indirect effect on work engagement through trust in supervisors.
Okay, unpack that indirect effect.
What this means is that while authentic leadership didn't directly cause higher work engagement on its own, it did so by fostering a strong sense of trust. When subordinates trust their leaders, they become more engaged in their work.
So trust is the bridge.
Trust acts as a crucial mediating factor, essentially a bridge between an authentic leader and genuinely engaged employees.
Interesting.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, with some unexpected findings that provide deeper context and show that leadership isn't a silver bullet.
Okay, the nuances.
The study found that trust in supervisors did not significantly indirectly affect psychological safety in this particular context.
Wait, trust didn't lead to more safety. That seems counterintuitive.
It was unexpected, yes. The researchers posited that this might be due to the highly structured, rule-bound, and inherently risky nature of the mining sector.
The context matters.
Hugely. In such an environment, employees are acutely aware that taking a personal risk, even if they trust their supervisor, could lead to disciplinary action, or more severely, a physical accident. So, even with trust, the inherent environmental constraints limited the perceived psychological safety for genuine risk-taking or vulnerability that might go against strict protocols.
So the system itself can override the leader's influence on safety.
The system itself could still stifle the self too, regardless of the leader's best intentions.
Wow. Okay.
What else? Another unexpected finding was that authentic leadership was not a direct predictor of work engagement.
Really? Authentic leaders don't directly make people more engaged.
Not directly in this study. Again, while theory suggests it should be, a possible explanation offered by the researchers is that if the organizational environment limits employee ownership of tasks, if they don't have the autonomy or opportunity to take responsibility for their work beyond rigid instructions,
then engagement doesn't follow.
Then even authentic leadership may not directly prompt high engagement. This suggests that while authentic leadership creates the conditions for engagement by building trust and psychological safety, employees also need the fundamental opportunity to exercise ownership and control over their roles.
So leadership isn't enough on its own. The structure needs to support it too.
It's a powerful insight. A great leader can cultivate a garden, but the plant still needs space and the right conditions to grow.
That's a huge takeaway. It's clear that intentional leadership, by valuing and encouraging our inner selves, our authentic contributions, even the ones that feel risky or imperfect, builds stronger, more innovative, and truly engaged teams. But it also shows that it's not just about the individual leader, it's about the entire system. It's about cultivating a space where people feel safe enough to bring their whole selves to work, self one and self two, and where the organization empowers them to do so. We've journeyed through the fascinating landscape of our two selves today, from that moment at the airport terminal to the meticulously curated digital feeds, from the chilling depths of deception to the foundational elements of psychological safety in the workplace.
Yeah, quite a range.
It's been quite a ride through the human condition, showcasing the incredible duality that exists within all of us.
This deep dive truly reveals that the truth of a person is rarely found in a single moment or a single persona. It's the sum of all their parts, the polished self one and the raw self two, the public face and the private struggles.
Right, it's the whole picture.
Understanding this duality, whether we're observing it in ourselves or in others, fundamentally enriches our perception of human behavior and equips us to navigate our complex world with greater insight, empathy, and discernment.
It's a powerful reminder that patience, empathy, and a keen eye for consistency can help us see beyond the surface, appreciate the nuance, and foster environments where authenticity can truly shine. We are all shifting constellations of moods and moments, and it's in recognizing that totality, embracing the sunshine and the shadow, the composed and the frayed, that true connection lies. The real deep dive, perhaps, is learning to accept and integrate both of your own selves, for true strength is found not in perfection, but in wholeness.